So this one's going to end up getting a little bit ranty, so I'm going to give you a heads up there. Here's the question. There are a lot of silly memes and some relatively serious articles with a comedy bent lately on the internet, and bigger online sources are writing articles on therapy being too expensive or not covered by insurance. It makes me feel weird to market around this kind of newfound internet awareness of therapy. How do I beat the price guilt? So first, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes for sponsoring us. Let's all just first acknowledge that the healthcare system is broken. I don't think anybody's going to come to its defense at this point and be like, no, it's great. The only downside I see it for like finally starting to break down some of the stigma around therapy and mental health is that we open therapy and therapists up to more judgment. So personally, I'd rather bear that judgment than have our clients who are afraid to seek therapy or ashamed of seeking therapy. I'd rather bear that brunt than have them do it, and I'm guessing most of you guys feel the same way. So one of the things that this person talks about is therapy being too expensive. People are talking about it being too expensive. I don't believe in the concept of too expensive. I don't think that exists. I mean, I think people think it exists, but like you can sell a $400 cat toy and somebody's going to make it a priority to get it. So some people are really thrilled to plunk down like $100,000 for a car, but I'm personally really happy to just like drive my Subaru until it dies. And that's because I don't value cars. It's just not my interest. There's no problem with somebody wanting a $100,000 car. It doesn't mean the car is too expensive. It's just not a place I'm willing to spend my money or really able in a lot of cases. So I'm going to digress like left and right, just so you guys know. Many of us have worked in nonprofits and in agencies that offer free care for folks. And I was a good clinician when I worked in these environments. I was burned out and I was stressed. And I do think that experience in self-care has improved my clinical skills, but I was providing good care to my clients while I was there. And when we think of agencies, we're often thinking about them from the perspective of therapists dealing with bureaucratic BS. And sometimes that does trickle down to the clients if they're not able to be seen at the frequency that's clinically appropriate, or if the services offered aren't really what they're needing and there's some sort of weird grabbiness around not referring them to people who can really meet their needs. Again, I'm going off course. I swear that these are going to scaffold to something. My point is that in many communities, there are agencies and nonprofits that can provide quality care for our clients who cannot afford a private pay therapist or whose deductibles are super high on their insurance plan. And it is part of our job, as I see it, to know those agencies well enough to know who's safe to refer to and who is not safe to refer to for these folks who are calling us that can't afford us. So for instance, I have full confidence in our local sexual assault center. I have full confidence in our local eating disorder nonprofit that offers free groups and care. So maybe it's the social worker in me, probably not just the social worker in me. I think it's probably the therapist in me that sees it as important and valuable for us to know the resources in our community so that we can take care of clients who call us and can't afford us with a really solid referral. So part of how to get to their question about like, how do you deal with the guilt piece? Part of how I prevent guilt is knowing these resources in my area. Another way that I prevent guilt is knowing that the more years that I am doing therapy, the more people I'm going to have the opportunity to make a difference with. And it is literally my job to make private practice sustainable for me so that I can have the kind of impact that I want to have on the people in my community. And it's your job too. It's literally your job for you to make your practice sustainable. There isn't going to be some like really wonderful supervisor or manager tapping you on the shoulder and telling you to take care of yourself. And you cannot have a sustainable practice without taking a really good hard look at the financial side of that, which includes the fee that you charge. So finally, because I value accessibility and sustainability, I set my full fee so that I can make what I want to make in a year while also having a certain number of sliding scale slots so that I can offer both the sliding scale piece and make it doable for people who can't afford my full fee because I'm private pay. And I do not offer sliding scale to assuage my guilt because I don't have any guilt about my fee. And I've found that the choices that I make out of guilt in my practice lead to resentment. And I don't want to resent my clients. I don't want to resent my practice. So I offer it because it feels good and it feels right for me to offer some sliding scale slots. I don't want anybody to just copy what I do. I want everybody to look at their own practice and their own needs for sustainability, because they're going to vary person to person, and make a really conscious decision based on your values and math. And for me, for sliding scale, I prefer to use Open Path, which I'll link in the show note or the comments. I like Open Path because if I don't have a slot available, there's a whole listing of a bunch of therapists who do have sliding scale spots available. So I do sometimes feel guilty about not having a great referral to give people, like, this person has an open sliding scale slot, because there's literally no way for me to keep track of that. Not literally. I could have spreadsheets, but I'm not going to spend hours every week trying to figure out who in town has open sliding scale slots. But Open Path has that available. So that is my very long, somewhat ranty answer to this question. Yeah, that's what I got for you. If you guys need help figuring out some of the values and math and all of that, and creating a practice that's truly sustainable for you, that's also serving your community, we got that in spades over in the Abundance Party. You can go to abundanceparty.com. If you have a question for me, I'd love to answer it, and you can do that by sending me a question at ask@abundancepracticebuilding.com. All right, bye.